Welcome back to Gooner Fanzine TV. We're in Turf Moor after Arsenal's hard-fought 0-0 draw with Burnley on Sunday afternoon. I'm here with Dan the Man. We've both been at Mikel Arteta's press conference after the draw, so we're just going to have a quick chat about that. Dan's going to talk about it in his capacity as Arsenal correspondent for the Isn't It Gazette. I was there as in my capacity as Arsenal correspondent for Varvel. So first off, Dan, what did you make of Arteta's press conference?
I thought he assessed the game kind of perfectly. I mean, he said, he was really pleased with the start. They had a couple of chances, maybe should have gone ahead, especially with the Aubameyang's one way, kind of scuffed the volley wide. And then he said, basically got it, hit the nail on the head with how the game went. Said, we lost control of the game. They started to get the ball. We didn't deal with the second balls, kept giving away sloppy fouls. They gave away some silly fouls towards the end of that first half. And then, really was kind of not very pleased with the way they started the second half. Described it as disappointing, which is, completely accurate. It wasn't a great start, but he said, he was pleased with the reaction the last 20 minutes, and they were showing more of what he wants. They were trying to be a bit more dangerous, get forward, playing the ball around a bit better. So, he assessed the game perfectly, and I think, he had every right to be disappointed in the way it went, especially early in the second half. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you're right there. He used the words that, sort of leapt out for me were sloppy, and he did say fantastic as well. So it was a bit of a curious exercise, wasn't it? Good in parts, bad in parts, basically. But do you think it was a point gained rather than 2 points lost?
I think 2 points lost, personally.
Really?
Yeah, I think they had plenty of chances to win the game, especially in the first half. I mean, Aubameyang's one was probably the best one. But to be fair, Burnley had some really good chances as well. Obviously, that one that bounced down just on the line from Jay Rodriguez. I think a lot of people thought it was in. Got away with a few ones earlier as well. There was 3 or 4 close-range headers that Burnley really should have scored. They should have been out of sight within the hour, basically. Yeah. So a bit of both, really. But I think, coming here and positive signs that we've seen under Mikel Arteta so far, they should have been coming away with a win, really.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, from my point of view, I've been here a few times over the years. It's a really tough ground to go to. I mean, you could see the sort of moors in the background. It's a real working-class city. There's a real atmosphere here. It's a traditional old English ground in the heart of the community. I love coming here because the atmosphere is so hostile, and that's what players should thrive on. So I think a point at Burnley at Turf Moor is potentially a good point most of the time, basically. And I think Arsenal did show grit. They were giving away a lot of those sort of fouls, weren't they? Just to sort of stop to break up the flow and stop the game, basically.
I do think they were giving them away in silly areas. One of Burnley's strengths was when they get the ball in the box, and they were giving them too many opportunities to get the ball in the box, which is obviously a bit of a negative. But I've said in the past on a podcast, about how the fouls can be a good thing. So, bit of both, really.
Yeah, I mean, what would you do if the ball's in the final third? You've got no option. You have to do that foul, don't you? Yeah. It's not like you can foul them on the edge of the box. But absolutely. Just in terms of Sean Dyche as well, we were obviously in Sean Dyche's press conference too. Yeah. He was quite pleased with the point, wasn't he? And he said Arsenal were really strong defensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you hear very often. I mean, we'll come on to the individual players and the player ratings, but I do think they're really good defensively. Yeah. Obviously had a few dangerous moments when the ball was in the box, but fairly solid on the whole. I think Sean Dyche's obviously pleased with the point. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Burnley, but any side against the top 16 will be pleased with the point, basically. I thought, it probably was a fair result in the end, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Just on a sort of side note, Arteta was asked late on in his press conference, or he mentioned it late on in his press conference about the pitch. But bizarrely, he sort of, I wouldn't say complained, he sort of bemoaned the fact that the Burnley groundsman, Burnley as a club, didn't water the pitch. I mean, what was your take on it? I thought that was slightly strange.
That's a bit weird, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, he said they didn't water the pitch, the grass was a bit long, and he also mentioned they didn't water the pitch at Colney yesterday to prepare for that. Yeah. It's a bit of a weird thing, especially considering the amount of rain we've had recently. Yeah. But, I mean, Arsenal's style of football is kind of suited to that, short grass, slick pitch, as we're saying at the Emirates. Yeah. So you can't understand why it didn't really play into their hands. But I mean, it's not a bad playing surface, is it? Didn't really understand that.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. To be fair, I mean, I'm a big fan of Arteta. I think he's a really impressive manager. But I thought that was slightly disingenuous because of the fact that he did water the pitch at London Colney, so he knew exactly what was coming. He prepared for it. Yeah. You can't moan about it. You can't have it both ways. You can't moan about the pitch because it's the same for both teams as well. So I didn't particularly like that because it just smacked of a little bit of sort of moaning, really. I mean, you don't need that, really, because they got the point, could have got all 3, avoided defeat, which makes it 1 defeat in 9 now, isn't it? So since he took charge, so I didn't really want to see that from Arteta, really. You don't want to go back to the sort of the worst days of Wenger when he's sort of moaning about really random stuff. Because look at the pitch. I mean, it looks okay. Obviously, we can't see how many bubbles there are. We can't see how rough it is. The groundsmen are out there now, sort of, replacing divots and making it a bit flatter, getting rid of the ruts and stuff. But ultimately, both sides have to play on it. So I don't really want to see the Arsenal manager moaning about random stuff like the pitch.
I agree.
Just in terms of the press conference as well, I mean, he spoke well, but he was really frustrated about those second balls, wasn't he, that Arsenal didn't get. I thought they showed grit today, but at the same time, why aren't they getting the second balls? Why aren't they winning the second balls?
I think, well, he was asked about it a bit later on, wasn't he, about the energy. He's been asked about it a few times since taking over as boss. I think that probably, is part of it. He demands a lot from his players in terms of the effort they put in, the amount of running they put in. I think, maybe legs kind of are tiring a little bit. I mean, they've had a busy schedule since they took over, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think the week off next week for the winter break will do them really good. Obviously, they're off to Dubai for a kind of week's training camp. So I think that kind of time to refresh and recuperate will be good for them. But I do think, they're lacking a bit energy-wise.
Yeah. And
they do. He needs to find a way to get them to the energy levels that he needs. Obviously, it's going to be quite difficult mid-season. I think pre-season and next season as well, we'll start to see it coming in. But I think that was probably part of the reason why they didn't pick up many of those second balls. Yeah,
I think you're right. He does work them really hard, and they obviously don't have that really high level of fitness because, by Emery's sort of self-confession, they didn't work that hard, basically. Certainly, David Luiz hinted at that and spoke about that before, or just when Emery left, basically. So you're right. I think pre-season will be the time when they can really get that energy in their legs. They did suffer it slightly because they were second to the ball most of the time in the second half, and until they rallied towards the end. But I mean, what's that? That puts Arsenal up to 10th now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Opportunity missed though, isn't it? I mean, we were discussing it on the way here. We needed a win to basically close the gap on the teams above us, and it's just stayed the same basically. I think a bit of an opportunity missed really. With obviously, Chelsea drawing and the teams above dropping points as well. Yeah. So I think today was a big chance, and we kind of let slip for our fingers really. Yeah,
absolutely. That 2-2 draw, Chelsea's 2-2 draw at Leicester yesterday. Arsenal could have made up 2 points with a win today. But having said that, they avoided defeat. It's still the status quo is still the same basically. What is it? 9-10 points behind 10 points behind fourth place. Maybe I'm being a bit too optimistic. They can certainly look for sixth place potentially. But they just need to keep plugging away, improving their fitness, and hopefully the results will come basically because what's that? That's 2 wins in 16 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Yeah. Although I suppose
it's not great.
No, it's not really. Although I suppose we can angle it. 1 defeat in 9. Yeah. So it's stats and damn stats or whatever the phrase is basically. But anyway. Any further?
Well, Bukayo Saka as well. Obviously, went off at half time injured. Arteta said a bit of a problem with his hip, wasn't it? Yeah. I think he said his knee as well. Didn't he? Yeah. So. Hopefully that's not too long. That's another left back down. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Cedric Suarez has been brought in on loan, who can possibly fill that position, but he's out for 3 weeks as well. So no left backs. But I thought Saka did okay. Before coming off at half time, Arteta said that as well. So hopefully, as we say, it's not going to be out for too long.
Absolutely. And he was asked about Mustafi as well towards the end, wasn't he? I mean, Mustafi did okay.
We'll come on to Mustafi, my player ratings. But Arteta thought he was really good, and I actually agree with him. I thought it was probably one of his best performances in an Arsenal shirt, to be fair. So fair play to him. And obviously got the praise from his manager, which is really good. I think he said he really liked how courageous he was after the mistake at Chelsea to come back in and put in a performance like that today. So hopefully, we're starting to see a new squad from Mustafi, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously showing a bit of character and courage to come back from what we thought was a serious ankle injury. It was a sprained ankle. It must have hurt, basically, and he's come back from that and kicked on again today. It's great to see. We haven't got an agenda against Mustafi. We want him to do well. Yeah. But, he obviously hasn't done consistently well for Arsenal over the last sort of 3 years of his contract. So it's good to see him looking as solid as a Mustafi can in centre half today. So, excellent. Okay. Many thanks to Dan for his comments there. You've heard what me and Dan have sort of our take on Arteta's press conference. What do you think? Let us know what you think about how Arteta's doing, how Arsenal did here at Burnley at Turf Moor. Like, comment, share. We're really interested in what you think about Arsenal and tell us your views as well. Thanks to everyone for watching, especially we've got a fan in China as well. I think we've got a few, but there's a particular fan there. So thank you very much for watching. We're going to have player ratings as well. Goodbye from a cold and chilly Turf Moor after Mikel Arteta's gritty Arsenal grab a point from determined Burnley. Cheers.